Alright, so last time we worked on this thing, we made it wide and my son broke it. I mean, test drove it. Oh no! Now off camera, he kept driving the car, drove several laps around the house, and something else broke. These, which I kind of expected. Now, when I did these, I did them with 20% infill to make this stuff. It's called infill, that's 20%, so that it prints a lot faster, and it's still really strong. Like, I can't crush this thing, but the problem was, it did 20% infill on these. These are where all of my load is, and so just too much torque. I bet I can break one off, let's see. And they break right off, not very strong. So what I did is I printed more, they're actually already in the car, and I did 100% infill from like here up and then 100% from here down. I sped my printer up a lot. These took 32 hours to print, the new ones took 18. So it turns out my printer can go much faster than I thought. Anyway, today, we are going to build the body kit for this thing. So up until this point, I've always adapted other kits to cars. With the Audi, that was a huge mistake. It would have been much faster just to build it from scratch. So we are building this from scratch. This is the foam I use. Everybody asks me what it's called. This is it. Look, I'll even show the brand. This is not sponsored. There we go. Desert foam. I get it from Hobby Lobby. If you don't have a Hobby Lobby, it's like a Michaels or whatever. You get it in the flower section. They use it for arrangements. Get the dry stuff, not the wet stuff. The wet stuff has formaldehyde in it. This, as far as I know, does not. We're gonna start with this, and then we are going to add something new that I'm very excited about working with. But let's get this stuff on the car first. Alright, so far all of this looks very much like everything we've done before on the channel. But this is new. Let me show you what I got. This is 25 pounds of clay. And this is only half. Now this is just modeling clay. This is not what they use to do car sculpting. When you see like design studios doing sculptures of cars, they use a much more expensive synthetic clay. I got this because it costs this much, shipped to your door. 50 pounds shipped to your door. Whereas that other clay cost, I don't even know if that includes shipping. We're gonna use this clay to try to sculpt our fenders. I hope it works because this is my plan for the Datsun. If it doesn't, we're gonna have to make another plan. Let's go do it. Called clay.
Can I touch it?
You can touch it.
Oh.
Wookie.
It feels wookie.
Is that cool?
Mookie.
Is Daddy making your car look like his?
Widebody!
Widebody!
Did you Widebody?
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm working on.
He's making this, he's building this out over the tire like his.
how about I give you some clay to play with? Would that be fine?
Yeah.
So some of you guys may not know this, but I got into cars because of art, and this is by far the most fun I've ever had working on a car. This is awesome. I love using clay. I wish I would have used it forever ago, but this came out really great. I'm stoked about it. There's some brush marks, which I think is okay for this process. If I ever start pulling molds directly from clay, then I want to get all that out, which is I'm kind of considering now. But man, this thing came out cool. It looks so good, and the finish is just so smooth already. I've never used clay before. The last time I used clay I think was in elementary school, and I've never sculpted anything out of clay. And it's just so easy. It's so easy. Alright, so this is where we are now. I was going to go ahead and do the front before kind of continuing this process on building the actual fender, but I think I want to go ahead and run this one all the way out and do the whole thing so I can get an idea of where I'm at and what I've got to do, and then move to the front and do that one. That's the plan. I hope you guys are as stoked about this as I am. This is super fun. I want to do this more. I am like properly pleased with this result. It looks so cool. Alright, so you might be wondering why I just covered up my beautiful sculpture with aluminum foil and plastic. Well, I'm not entirely sure. I know that it's there to protect it from fiberglass. The only issue I have with it is it creates a bunch of wrinkles in this thing I just made so smooth. So I'm hoping maybe I can think of another way to do this, but basically I need a barrier, right? So I'm going to pull a fiberglass part off of this mold, and I need something to protect the clay from the fiberglass and to keep it from getting embedded in the fiberglass, which is the aluminum foil. And I need something to help the fiberglass pull away clean. So if I just put fiberglass straight on top of the aluminum foil would embed itself in the fiberglass. It's very hard to get out. Because I'm using packing tape, fiberglass doesn't stick to that, so it'll pull right off and it shouldn't be an issue. Alright, so I've cut out my shapes out of the fiberglass cloth. I got 2 of them. I'm going to do 2 layers of 6-ounce fiberglass cloth over this. But before we do that, I went and picked up some Super 77, aka my favorite adhesive ever, and we're going to lay it down on top of this. Super light coats, doesn't take much. That's going to hold our fiberglass in place while we put our first coat of resin down, especially in places like this where it's upside down. Normally the fiberglass, when it's saturated, would just fall off of there and it makes a really ugly piece. This is like the best fiberglass part I've ever made. It feels really good. That doesn't feel so good right there. But that's a shaping issue. That was a mistake. Yes! Haha! All of the wrinkles I was concerned with, you don't feel them really through this resin. We'll probably see them when I start sanding it, but I think this is gonna level out real nice. This is a laser level, and we're gonna use this to transfer this kit to the other side. I've seen people do this on the internet before, and I think it's a pretty common method, but let's try it out. Oh yeah, we're getting fancy, and I'm feeling pretty high tech right now because I live in Alabama and we don't do high tech things. This is a laser level, and I'm gonna use it to make lines on my body kit. I'll explain why in a minute, just watch. I really hope that this worked. Out of this whole process, this was not fun at all to make these little things. I just hope that they're good enough. I hope they come off, first of all. We'll see. Hey, we got one. Okay, that is gonna be it for this video. I was gonna do gel coat on this thing, but before I get into all this sanding and possibly sanding through the fiberglass I just put on, I wanna take it off and do the back side of it with some more reinforcements. So that's gonna come later this week. I'm gonna start working on the driver's side. I'm gonna get this thing buttoned up and gel coated, and then we can move to the front. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I really did. It was a lot of fun to build this thing, and I'm pretty excited about building the rest. Now, obviously no Datsun video this week. We kind of ran into some issues. We need a tubing bender. So if you have a tubing bender you want to sell us for cheap, let me know in the comments or DM me on Instagram. That's actually probably the best way, or my email at built.caleb@gmail.com. We gotta have a tubing bender to finish the Datsun. So while we're trying to find one, I'll be building this thing, and I've got a few other builds we're gonna be doing as well. All right, see you guys soon.